going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bolt Standard Podcast. We're your hosts, Dylan Martin, Justin Harley, back with another week of news, updates, notes. Justin, how we feeling today?
Good, man. A little better than last week. Obviously, we were dealing with some rough news last week, but we got some positive stuff talked about today. Um, and obviously, we had a couple different training camp practices, and we heard some good things from the coaches. So excited, a lot of excitement, man. The vibes is up this week. The vibes is up.
Yep, vibes are way up this week. Absolutely. NFL was back. We kicked us off with the Hall of Fame game. Everybody was playing last weekend. We finished off the weekend, preseason week one, so it really felt like football was back. I don't know about you, but I was excited to watch not just us, but other teams play and scout out some competition. But speaking about us, we had our week one game against the Saints at home, 27-13 win. Another good performance from our Chargers, man. What'd you see out there? What stood out to you?
Just kind of like consistency, honestly. I mean, just like especially from the defense. I did think quarterback play was a little bit. Trey Lance played like the whole game almost in the Hall of Fame game, and he did a really good job.
Yeah.
And then even when DJU came in afterwards, I mean, he didn't throw it much, but the offense was still kind of clicking it. Like it didn't seem like, man, we can't move the ball, we can't do certain things. But this game that just happened, it wasn't the same. I mean, Heineke came in and obviously started it, didn't really look that good. He
No.
also could have got some help from his receivers. I mean, Trey Harris dropped something. Keandre Lambert Smith dropped a pass where he had in his hands. The DB made a good play on it. But I just thought consistency from the defense that really stood out to me. Defensive line play, and then kind of across the board too. Not even just like you're looking at one guy. It's all those guys. They're all stepping up, making plays. And then those corners are just playing really well. And I
Yeah,
think those are the two most consistent groups that I've been seeing: the defensive line and the cornerback group, and safeties too. So I guess you could just say DBs as a whole. But that's kind of what stood out to me, just that consistency that we're seeing on the defensive side, D line and defensive backs. So that's it for
absolutely.
me.
Just to touch on something that you said right there with the defense. So some numbers that I saw because I was taking some notes during the game, and then keeping an eye on things. But 13 points allowed, right? Another that's really good. That's like tops in the league. It looks like we're gonna run that back. Hopefully we can stay in that teens range, just like last year where we led the league in points allowed. 5 sacks, lots of sacks again,
Yep.
which will get to my standout players. 7 tackles for loss, a strip sack, 2 interceptions, and a pick six. Like defense
Mhm.
was balling, 3 more takeaways, 5 in the first game. So that's 8 takeaways in 2 games. I know it's preseason, it's not against starters, but I believe that's something that can translate to a regular season because that's a lot of system play. That's players keeping their eyes in the backfield for the DBs. That's
Yep.
edge rushers getting after the quarterback, blitzers getting home. So I like what we're doing on defense so far a lot. 8 takeaways in 2 games is pretty impressive, no matter who it is or who you're playing.
No, and I love that point you made. I mean, and Derwin James echoed it today in his presser. He was like, "Hey," because one of the I don't know if it was Popper. I think it was Popper who asked him. He was just like, not getting those starter reps. Those joint practices. He was like, "Do you feel like, you could still be as prepared when the season comes along?" And he like, maybe you're playing against the second team or the third team offense. He was like, he said, honestly, he said, I'm worried about me. He's like, I'm worried about my technique, making sure I'm doing the right things. And
Yeah,
he was like, if you go out there thinking I'm playing the second team or third team, he was like, them guys will beat you too. He was like, we're in the NFL. So I love that he said that because that's really how it is. And that's how you should feel. It's not about, yeah, I'm playing the second team, the third team. No, it's anybody can beat you on any given day, especially if you take for granted or think that, hey, if I'm on the first team, I'm Derwin James, this second team or third team receiver or tight end ain't gonna beat me. No, you
right.
can get beat. So I love that. And I just echoed what you just said.
Yeah, DJ always been a leader. I love that mentality. Great way to trickle down for the whole defense. And when you get to November and December, people are hurt, and we're not going to be talking about this guy's a third stringer playing now. No, he's a player. He's on the
Yep.
field, so it doesn't
Mhm.
matter what you start at now, whether you're a preseason, backup starter, whatever it is. If you're on the field, you're an NFL player, so you got to
Yep.
attack that player, not let them get the better of you, because it can happen any given Sunday.
Absolutely.
Is there a certain player, if you had to pick one player, or if you have a couple players that really stood out to you, who was that standout for you?
Um, I'll probably stick on the defensive side. I thought there was some good things offensively too. Running backs looked pretty good. But defensively, um, and I wouldn't say he was like the best defender out there, but just echoing consistency again. I thought he had a really good week again. Jamari Caldwell.
Mm,
He had a lot of good plays where he was pushing the pocket. He had a sack. He had a sack
yep.
this game. But his motor is just showing. I mean, he's getting double teamed, but he's not giving up. And, maybe the quarterback is running around him or the quarterback starts to scramble and then you see a big man is tired. He's not trying to, his feet don't stop. Like he's
No.
just motor just going and going. And he's just doing all the right things. I mean, he had a really good Hall of Fame game. And I thought he had a really good game against the Saints too. So that'll probably be the person that stuck out to most to me, just for on a week to week basis,
Yeah.
doing some really good things. And we're going to expect, I feel like we're going to expect a lot from him this year.
Yeah.
So I'm loving what I'm seeing from him.
Everything he's shown has been great so far. Jesse Minter keeps talking about him. Like he literally just said it before the game started or that same week in practice, how much Jamari, like, gets double teamed but then fights through it. So if you single him up, he's gonna make a play. And he,
Yeah,
proved him right in the game. Good call there.
for
I've been
sure.
a big Jamari guy since we got him, big Oregon fan. So love to see
Mhm.
a Duck make an impact for us. If I had to pick one standout, my top standout from the game was Caleb Murphy. Um, Eric Rogers is second because if you get two interceptions and a pick six, I got to give you a shout out. So Eric Rogers, hope you're healthy, man. You haven't practiced this week, so would love to see you get some opportunities out there
Yeah,
and get some more game action because you looked really good out there. So hope that he can recover and play some more snaps in the preseason, see what he has.
yeah,
But I'm going Caleb Murphy. Four more pressures, two sacks, just taking advantage of every opportunity to get that edge four spot. Because we know the first
yeah,
three. We got Mac, we got Tooley, we got Bud Dupree. Kyle Kennard was supposed to be that guy, being an SEC defensive player, and
yeah.
your player to watch last week that ended up not playing, but mine didn't play either, Junior Colson. So we were 0 for 2 on that. Thank God I shouted out Rocket Sanders.
Yeah, I know.
But Caleb Murphy just was an impact player again, like constantly popped when he was on the field in the backfield. Two more sacks is impressive. So I got to give him some love because that's somebody that we're going to need. That's what I was looking for when I was making my pick was someone that's going to probably make a regular season impact. And what he's doing will definitely translate, no matter if it's against the ones, which some of it was, or if it's against the twos.
Yeah,
So I liked what I saw from him. And I got to give our running game a shout out. We were solid in the Hall of Fame game, but I wouldn't say impressive. Week two, we definitely were better. 149 yards rushing, six plus runs of 10 plus yards.
hmm
Um, and then Rocket Sanders, 11-yard touchdown, capped off that. And then Trey Lance was played a big part in that 149 yards.
yeah,
Took over the drive in the second quarter with two back-to-back first downs of 10 plus yards, and then
yeah,
finished that drive with a running touchdown. So
yeah,
on the ground looked a lot better. Definitely helps when you have a running QB, but that's our mentality. Harbaugh came out in the second half after Trey Lance finished that drive to end that quarter, and in the half saying he wanted us to do more on the ground and block people is essentially what he said. He said, "I want to see us
yeah.
hit people. I want to see us block." And I
hmm
thought we did that in the second half. So with those backups being out there and to still can do that consistency and continue that game plan, I thought was big.
Yep, that's how we're gonna play football, man. And like we seen it last year, and we just seen it with all of Jim Harbaugh's teams, and obviously, Greg Roman, offensive coordinator led team program. I mean, that's what we want to do, especially late in the game. We have to be able to do that, and I feel like if we would have been able to do that in earlier years when we didn't have the same coaching staff, front office, we would have been a lot better football team. But we weren't able to show that we could do that, and we just always shied away from it.
Yeah,
But that's how we're gonna be able to close out games late in those games. So no,
yeah,
it's a big emphasis, and obviously we're seeing it. We're seeing
yep.
it
We saw it a little bit last year. Would love to see that continue. And that's our identity. You mentioned the other coaching staffs. I don't think we had an identity under Staley, under Linton,
no,
under guys like Mike McCoy back in the day. But
no,
we know what Harbaugh's identity is going to be, and it's awesome to see it come to fruition even in preseason games.
for sure.
Um, so speaking of the preseason, us being halfway through, we have 4 games, so we're 2 out of 4. We've been in camp longer, so the guys have been practicing. Let's talk about our 53-man roster prediction. We're getting there. We have 2 games left, and the regular season is coming quick. We're almost halfway, more than halfway through August.
Yeah,
And training camps are almost done. So your 53-man roster prediction or our 53-man roster prediction, let's do it like this. Let's go. We'll alternate. I'll let you kick us off with the QBs. If
okay,
we have something different, we can tell us what we see that's different on our lists. And if you got any notes on a certain position that's a little bit more closer, like
yeah,
maybe edge or wide receivers, 'cause I think we're pretty clear on a couple positions.
for sure. No, I mean I think QBs. I mean, obviously I think that there's a battle going on for QB two, but I think that first, I mean. Heineke didn't play in the Hall of Fame game, and he played, but he did play against the Saints week one. Um, Looks like Lance is kind of obviously in the lead for that. I mean, Heineke is the proven vet. He's been there. He's started a ton of games. Um, and it could have been just some jitters shaking off Russ. And like I said earlier, I mean, some receivers did drop some of his passes. So I mean, ultimately they could if they would have held on to those balls, he might have had a better showing. But I think Lance is leading that. So I only have us sticking with two QBs, and I
Mm.
have it being obviously we know the starter,
Yeah.
Herbo. But I do have Trey Lance being that QB2. I do think um, that DJU will be on the practice squad. And I
Okay.
think that he'll be elevated on game days as the emergency quarterback. So I do love that rule that got imposed a couple years back where you don't have to carry three, you can carry two, but then have that third quarterback as an emergency, and
Mm.
it doesn't impact your 53 for the game.
Yeah.
Um, I do see Heineke not making the 53. I think we're going to trade him though. That's just what I think. I don't think that we keep either Trey or Heineke, and one doesn't get traded. So I do think that we'll probably lean more keeping Trey Lance and trading Heineke. But that's just kind of how I just look at it.
Interesting. No, I like that. I had the three that's played so far in the first halves of the game. So obviously Herbert hasn't played, but he's our starter. And then I have
Mhm.
Trey QB2 right now. The offense just looks different. And then Heineke three, but he's the game day elevation is what I have for Heineke. So dress out to have the third for game day. So obviously that opens up roster spots on the rest of the roster. But
For
so
sure.
that's a slight difference, but I like that. Running back, I have us with four RBs, Omarion, Najee. We know those are the two.
Yep.
And then the next two, I got Hassan Haskins on this team. He does so much special teams wise, blocking, pass blocking is really good. And he's proved his worth. He had a really good game against the Broncos last year. So I
Mhm.
think he adds value. He's a Harbaugh guy, a Michigan guy. So he'll be on this team. And I have Rocket Sanders making this team. I think we just seen a little bit too much, and compared to what we've seen from Kamani Vidal, um, adds a different element for us. And if he's not on the roster, I think somebody else is going to want him on their roster. So it's almost something that we have to do.
Spot on, man. Same. Got four running backs. Those are my same four, man. I will say that I did think at some point that Haskins wouldn't make the team, but the way he's been running in preseason, I kind of feel like, yeah, there's no way. I know I get the special team impact because he definitely has a tremendous special team impact. But I was thinking that maybe, Naheem Hines would come in because he'd be a different back in the running back room that we don't have. But seeing, Rocket and how he's a big back, but he's got the explosiveness. You saw his pass catching ability. He caught that back shoulder fade, well, not a
Yeah.
fade, but he put it on his back shoulder. He adjusted, was falling, made the catch. So I'm right there with you. I have obviously Naheem Hines being out, but I did have him in at a point over Haskins because I'm like, man, this room could be something special, and I just didn't see the running ability of Haskins. But then this preseason, I mean, he's been looking good, like
Yeah.
burst, strength. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Cool. Um, I think we can skip over fullback. Matlock's going to be that fullback if with that we're going to count that as a spot, but that's a fullback slash DT, so we'll count that as Travis Hunter isn't the only two-way player in NFL. Shout
Uh-huh.
out to all the media people out there.
For
So
sure.
I'll let you go with a receiver. Who you got?
Yeah, I got us going with six. I know last year we went with seven, and then they put Chark on the injured reserve, start the season off. But I got us with six. Got Ladd, Keenan, QJ, Trey, KLS, and then Darius Davis. Man, I think it's a pretty easy decision with that six. I don't really see any other receivers in that receiving room that can step over any of those players. Um, Darius Davis having the least amount of maybe like receiving impact, but we know what he is, man. He's an all-pro punt returner.
Or returner?
Um, there's no way that Ficken is not going to have him on the team. There's no way. So that's my six. I think it's pretty easy in that group.
Yeah, I got the same six, so I'm with you there. I got nothing to add. I think you hit it perfectly. Tight ends, Disley, Conklin, OG. OG is going to be that receiving threat, and we know Disley and Conklin are going to be our blockers. So I have us with three tight ends.
Right there with you. Obviously, and I don't know who's going to be the tight end one. I mean, like I said, I'm sure and you can't even really call it a tight end one. I mean, Disley, Conklin. I mean, they're both going to be kind of considered, the tight end one. But it's are we going to come out running the ball heavy at first, or are we going to like who knows? So I got the same exact three. I I did have a little note there where I'm thinking that potentially, um, Disley, this is his second to last year. Next year he'll be in a contract year. Whether we want to re-up him or not. Um, I have him. I don't think they'll trade him, but I know how good Tucker Fisk is and how well he played for us last year, blocking, and he's made some pretty tough catches too in training camp, and then also in that Hall of Fame game, he had a pretty good catch where he stretched out for it. Um, I don't think it's gonna happen, but I could see Disley being traded, going with the younger version of Disley and Tucker Fisk, knowing that we have Tyler Conklin, you got OG who's going to stretch the field. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
Interesting. Yeah. That's a take there for sure. I think this lead adds a lot of value, and we saw how many times we threw him the ball last year. So I would be shocked if that happened, but yeah, I like the I mean, he does bring a lot of blocking. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. So we got O line. Ooh, this is a touchy one. Um, so I did go with, pretty sure I got nine O line. And obviously our starters. So you got Joe Alt, Zion, Bose, Becton, Pipkins. And then behind him, obviously, we got Salyer, Andre James. I do got us keeping the rookie, Branson Taylor, just because, I mean, he's the most affordable. I mean, I don't think they're going to get rid of him. I think they saw something in him to take him in the sixth round, knowing that he played tackle, wanting to use him at guard a little bit. And then I got him with who we just signed, David Sharp. I got him beating out Ryan Nelson because Ryan Nelson has looked terrible in the preseason. So those I'm going with those nine for the O line. I don't now. Do we stay with this nine the whole season? I definitely don't think so. I think that there's going to be some changes
Right.
potentially. Some maybe bring somebody else in, but that's the nine that I see right now.
I have the same nine. I don't have anybody different. I mean, losing Slater takes away some of our depth in the line. So whoever's behind Alt and Pipkins at the swing tackle spot, which is probably Sawyer, but so Sawyer fills both roles as guard tackles. I got the same thing as far as the guys behind them. Hopefully, we don't have to see those guys. So hopefully,
Yeah,
we keep that five, maybe six with Sawyer, or if Andre James takes Bozeman's spot. But I think those are our guys right now.
for sure.
D line, I have six D linemen right now. And by D line, I'm just going with probably those interior guys. So the big bodies. So I got Deshaun Hand, Tier Tart, Justin, Aboji. I got to get these names down. I'm going to practice so I have those better because I'm going to get hit with another one here in a second. Jamari Caldwell, Naquan Jones, and then Double O Otito Obanya. I got to work
Yeah,
on those names. So I'm going to get those pronunciations down by regular season. But that's my six. I think we're deep there. Justin being the one guy that is probably at the end of that depth chart that isn't the biggest body, but he's been playing well so far in preseason.
yeah.
The other guys are all big bodies that are going to help stuff to run, and the way Caldwell's looking, like you mentioned already earlier, I think that's a really good group for us right there.
For sure. No, I like it. I do have us going with five instead of six.
Okay.
And the one that I have not making it because I do have the same players, but I have Naquan Jones actually not making it. I don't think he's shown much in preseason. He hasn't played a ton. He's played in limited snaps. Um, but I also look at his contract, and he's guaranteed very little money. I think he's only guaranteed, I think, 250,000 out of, I think it was like 1.9 million. I might be getting the numbers wrong, but I know his guaranteed money is only about like 250,000. So his guarantee is very low. So I have him not making it because I have additional players and probably that over in the edge room, probably that you might not have, or somewhere along the DBs.
Okay.
But I do have Naquan Jones not making it. I just like I said, I just don't think he's doing enough. And I think that with what Caldwell is showing, I think that it's gonna allow us to know that, like, hey, because they what they've been pretty much been doing, like Tito's been pretty much, early downs, one, two.
Yep.
Um, Deshaun Hand, I think he's gonna be another person that's early downs, one, two. I think Tart is gonna be a starter, so I think he's gonna be in there as well. But when you're looking at like the pass rush, I think it's gonna be more so Tart. I think it's gonna be Caldwell. And I think Boygby might have some of that too, because he's more on the smaller side, got more kind of pass rush to him. Um, but I don't. Now he could go six, and Naquan Jones could back in there. But right now I don't have Jones making the 53.
Hmm. I mean, I think it could just be a depth thing, but with your five, we still technically have six with Matlock.
Yep,
So that's another way to kind of look at it. But I like that. That's a good group regardless how we look at it. I think we have a strong five, six, seven if you include Matlock. So
for
um,
sure.
yeah.
kind of jumping over the edges. So this is kind of where I had that additional person kind of in there. So I know a lot of times, we always talked about like, four in the edge room, but I actually have us going with five.
Yeah.
Obviously top three we know. We got Mac, Tooley, Bud. Um, I have us with obviously keeping our fourth round pick, Kennard, because I don't think that you let him go. I don't think that you don't keep him on the roster because he's not going to last on the practice squad. He's
Mm.
not. Someone is taking him.
Oh
So
no.
I have them keeping him, but I also have Caleb Murphy making this team. Like I have him making the 53. What he's done in the first two games, not even just on defense, special teams. I kept watching this one clip because I can't remember what position he's playing, but he's on the line obviously when they punt the ball. And he literally, if it wasn't for the gunner on the outside, he was like the first person to make it down there. And he was on the line. He had to block, kind of get through the person that's trying to fight and block the punt. And he was the first one down there. So like his effort on special teams is crazy.
Yeah.
So he's doing that and he's making the plays on defense. I have him making his 53. So I do have to go on with five because I just don't think you can stash Kennard.
Yeah.
Um, and the way Caleb Murphy's playing, I don't think you can stash him either.
No. I'm with you on that. I got five as well because of Caleb Murphy's play. He's just been too much in, and even before that Hall of Fame game when he made plays, and last week two more sacks. Like I said earlier, he's been doing it in practice. We've been hearing he's been a problem in practice,
Yep.
disruptive. And the lack of production from Kyle Kennard, whether it be from injury or just not playing well so far in what we've seen in practices and games, I think that opened the door up for Murphy to take that edge four spot. So he'll see regular season snaps, I think, and Kennard has to earn that. You could have all the college production in the world and still not be a viable NFL threat. So I got Caleb out there, and Kyle will be behind him fighting for snaps. And it's nice to have a rotation. Bud and Mac are both older guys. So if we have games where we're up more too, that can also get Kyle those snaps that he needs in regular season action. So I'm
Yeah.
going with five edges as well with you. Same rationale.
Gotcha.
And then we go to our linebacker position. I have four: Henley, Perriman, Junior Colson, and Troy Dye. I think all those guys, it's pretty self-explanatory while they're on the roster. I think Troy Dye's been a valuable piece. He played well last year. Um, and I think Junior Colson it will be taking a step forward this year. So we know what Perriman brings as a run stopper, and we know that Henley's going to be an all-pro this year, or should take that step forward. He played like it last year, and from everything that I'm seeing and hearing in camp, pick six yesterday in camp,
Hmm.
uh, big year coming for Dan Henley. So I think he's going to be that next leader for us in that linebacker position.
Yeah, I can echo that, man. I got the same four, same justification. I do like the Henley as an all pro. I mean, he played pretty much all year last year with a torn labrum. Like how much of that is going to affect your ability to get in those passing lanes and secure an interception or get a pass defense? I mean, even making tackles. I mean, it's all those different things. Maybe you're reaching for a quarterback and you're rushing them or something, and you feel your shoulder. Oh, you get that pain, and it's like I'm going to fight through it, but maybe my grip strength isn't the best, so I grabbed him, but I
Yeah.
can't hold on as much because I don't have that grip strength. So I see an all pro this year. I mean, health, barring health.
Yep.
I see an all pro as well. And yeah, I'm hoping for Junior Colson to make that step forward too. He hasn't been looking the greatest in the preseason. I mean, in the Hall of Fame game, he didn't look that good. He was kind of running into the back of his own defenders and missing kind of assignments, but he's still getting there. He didn't play a lot last year, so he's got a lot of time to, or he's going to have a lot of time to make those adjustments and get equipped or adjusted to the game speed. So I'm right there with you. I'm hoping he takes that second step.
For sure.
This that goes into this is probably the most fun one for me. The corner, the deep. Well, I was gonna say DBs, but it's really corners.
Yes.
So I do have us going with six.
Okay.
Um, so I got obviously Dante Jackson. I got Tari Heap still, Cam Hart. I got Ben St. Juice making it, and this is where it kind of gets a little dicey. So I have Nico Reed making it, 53. I have him making it. I don't think you can stash him. He's looked too good in training camp. He's looked extremely good in a Hall of Fame game. And obviously he didn't play against the Saints, but it is what it is. I have him making it. Even now, let's say if he's out for the entire rest of the training camp and he doesn't play anymore in the preseason, well, that's going to hurt his chances. But if he's back, he's playing, I think he's going to make it. And then I do have Dean Leonard still making it because I think he gives a really good special teams impact. But I got just here Taylor not making the 53. They talked so good about him. So, like, would it shock me if they kept him? No. But every time I see him on the field, he's just he's just getting beat. He's getting beat nonstop. He's not making plays. I just don't see how you can continue to invest a roster spot in him. I have
Yeah.
Dean Leonard over him because I think the traits, he's tall. I think he's about 6'2", 6'3". He has the long speed. Um, and Minner's always talking about the traits. It's always talking about the traits. So even Eric Rogers, who I would have Eric Rogers probably making the 53 if he was healthy.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on with him, but he's 6'2". He has the traits. So that's why I have Dean Leonard staying over Taylor.
Yep. I have five. Only guy I don't have on there, I have Dean Leonard not making it just because, at time as it comes a time to move on, don't have Jaw Taylor either. So I have Nico Reed as that fifth guy. And that comes down to special teams play, and he played really well on special teams in the Hall of Fame game. We'll see more this week from him, special team wise. So Hart still Jackson, St. Jude's taking the bulk of those snaps in the regular season. And then I think Nico Reed is a guy that's shown a lot of promise. And you got to give guys like that chances. And there's times like it's time to move on from Jaw Taylor and Dean Leonard. I think we know what we have in those guys, and
Yeah,
they're solid. But this is a time when you elevate guys like Nico Reed or Eric Rogers, which I think he'll just be a practice squad guy.
for sure.
And
I
then
agree.
last spot before, I guess we got two more. So we got safeties and then our specials guys, but I think the specials is obvious: Dicker, J.K., Josh Harris.
Yes, sir.
And then so I got four safeties on the roster. I got Derwin, Alohi, Elijah Molden, and then I got RJ Mickens making this team. Another special teams guy. So when you look at those last spots, like for safety, corner, even like Caleb Murphy's spot, those are guys that I look for. Like, how have you performed on special teams? Because that's where your impact
Hmm.
is going to be felt. So if you're flying down and making those kickoff tackles, which are super important this year because the ball's going to be in play. Nobody wants to kick it out of bounds and let the team start at 35.
No,
And then, of course, punt returns is the same. We need gunners and we guys that will get down there and tackle. So that's why I think Mickens, Nico Reed, Caleb Murphy make impacts on this team just as much as they can and snaps at their position, but those special team snaps.
for sure. No, I love it. I actually, and this one was another hard one for me, but this is why I had one less D line interior D lineman, because I kind of moved it to the safety group. I actually had them keeping five. I will say. I think they may do the same thing they did with Tony Jefferson last year. Stash him on the practice squad, pull him up, elevate him on game days. So they probably could go with four, but I have them keeping Tony Jefferson and R.J. Mickens. Obviously, we know the top three. Derwin, Molden, Gilman. We already know those top three, but I do have them keeping the those other two, Tony Jefferson and R.J. Mickens. I think just that DB group, just whether it's cornerback or safety, I feel like there's so much injuries that happen in those two groups where depth is so important. And I feel like we know how Mentor values corners, safeties, just being able to play multiple spots.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I gave them the extra player. And I mean, and honestly, but I mean, both of those safeties been playing really well. I mean, RJ Mickens is showing a lot,
Yep.
especially in his tackling ability too.
Yeah.
And then Tony Jefferson, I mean, he just looks like I don't know, he's got new life, man. After coming back last year, man, every time he's on the field, he's just making plays. So
Yeah.
um, I do have them with an extra one in that group. Um, to kind of go. And then I do have an honorable mention to Kendall Williamson. I don't think he can make it over any of those other safeties, but he's been playing really good too. So he was the one who I was like, man, this is if it wasn't for like a Tony Jefferson or RJ Mickens, I think Williamson can make the 53 potentially. Because special teams, he was the one who punched out the ball and had that fumble, that forced fumble in the Hall of Fame game. And he's just been making a lot of plays. So um, honorable mention for Kendall Williamson.
Yeah, I would love it if Tony was able. If he was on that team, I'd have no issues because I'm a fan of his. He's been an impact player in the preseason for us. You obviously know he provides leadership, veteran. He knows the system. He's been around the Harbaughs and Ortiz back going to those Ravens days, and he loves being a Charger, being a San Diego guy. So I
Yes,
have no
sir.
problems if Tony Jefferson is on this roster and playing special teams or playing regular season snaps um, in some capacity. So
For sure.
yeah, that's our 53. We're gonna move on to one of our fun topics. We told you we're gonna talk about a lot of things here on the Bolt Standard podcast. We're gonna talk into it's mock draft season. Fantasy football is going on. It's big and strong right now. We're gonna get into who do you think is the best Charger in fantasy football this year? So if you had to, go with your best pick for a Charger this year in fantasy football, who are you taking?
So I mean, I think it's pretty easy. I mean, I think everyone will, I mean, it's kind of, you kind of have your consensus, but I'm gonna go with Lad. That's gonna be my number one charger. And I think his ADP is it's pretty solid. I mean, a lot of drafts and kind of, I mean, I've already been doing mock drafts because I got two drafts on the 31st.
Okay.
And I know my positions already where I'm gonna be picking from. So I'm doing a lot of mock drafts and kind of excited because he's been falling to me a lot in them. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, the players that are actually making those picks, they could just throw a wrench in everything and just pick different people. But you know, right around his ADP, you know, I kind of do a lot of like fantasy pros, so looking at their kind of average, the way they do it,
Yep.
they got lat at like a 12.3 ADP, going up the board as the wide receiver 11. So I mean, I just think the value that he brings, I think his rapport already in year two with Herbert, um, I just think sky's the limit for him. And I mean, yeah, Keenan Allen is back, so there's some targets that's going to definitely go his way as well. But Ladd is looking at 125, 135 targets plus.
For
Um,
sure.
and when you got Herbert throwing on the ball, you got extreme separator and Ladd. I see his stat line from last year definitely jumping up.
Hmm.
So I mean, as a wide receiver 11, I'm willing to definitely put my money on Ladd. So he'd be my best overall. Now, my best value, I'm staying in that wide receiver room. I'm going with Keenan Allen. I think a
Okay.
lot of people are going to write him off. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are going to be like, yeah, it's Keenan Allen. He's old. He didn't do nothing. In
Yeah.
Chicago last year, mind you, he had 70 catches, like 700 yards,
Yeah.
seven touchdowns, I think it was. Like, that's really good for a player who's, you know, age 32, 33, was in a terrible situation last year with a quarterback who just was just, you know, green behind the ears. And his average ADP is 59, going off the board as the wide receiver at 58. So, like, I look at that and I'm like, man, if I can grab him in round six, round seven, that's a receiver who probably, I mean, we probably grab him in round five or six. If you get lucky and you're playing with some guys that don't know football, maybe round seven. Um, that's a receiver who can come in and be a wide receiver two, potentially on certain weeks, and definitely a flex at times.
Right.
So I'm loving the value with Keenan Allen. So those would be two guys that I'm definitely targeting at their ADPs. Now, will I get him or not? I'll come back after our next pod after August 31st, and I'll let you know.
Yep. Yep. Our first regular season pod. We'll see what you got for that fantasy team.
Yes,
We
sir.
can take a minute to talk about those if we want to.
For sure.
So yeah, I got a draft on the 31st as well. Or actually, no, it's on the first, September 1st. Shout out the Pac-10 Fantasy Football League on NFL.com. I'm the new commissioner this year, so it's going to be a fun.
Hey.
Um, and I'm gonna have fun with this best Charger. So in sports media we do a lot of top five lists. So I'm gonna give you my top five best Chargers in fantasy football. So I'm gonna start with number five, Justin Herbert. I'm not leaving him off of any top five list this year, probably, unless it's on the defensive side of the ball. So, but he's QB 15. I actually do think that's pretty good value if you either. Some people go with the no QB strategy. So they draft their other skill players and then get QB last. I think Justin could be a good guy for that. Or if he's like your backup, I think you have a pretty solid backup option in case a top guy goes down. Average ADP, and these are all from NFL.com numbers. ADP of 124 in round 13, so could find some good value if you're waiting for Herbert that deep. Um, Keenan Allen's my number four. So I have him. Same reasons you listed. I think him and Justin get along so well. I think he can be a valuable charger on your fantasy team this year. As either some depth behind your flex position or in that flex position if you have some other players drafted higher. On NFL.com, they have that ADP as 150 overall. And I didn't do which wide receiver her number he was because it was pretty deep down there, but
Mhm.
overall 150. So you can get him in round 16 is what they're showing me on that one. So I think another really good value pick. Number three, I went with Chargers defense and special teams. Um, the way we're getting, if we have 8 takeaways in 2 preseason games, if that was in the regular season, that's a lot of fantasy points going the other way. A pick six,
Yeah.
sacks, lots of sacks. We had 5 sacks last game, all fantasy points, and then no points allowed. So, that's a sleeper spot on your fantasy team where you can get points and beat somebody in a head-to-head spot right there. If your defense outshines theirs by 10 plus points and you're closer everywhere else, then you win that matchup. So, um, that's my number three for that top five. Number two, so number two and one were my biggest toss up. Okay, so number two, I'm going with Omarion as the number two Charger to have in fantasy. Right now they have his overall ADP as 51, but I think he's been flying up the charts, so it could be even higher now. But that's running back 18 in round six. I think that's a great value. But from what I've been seeing from some experts, I think his numbers are going higher, especially with what's going on with Najee. I think everybody else is seeing a lot of other drafts, and then on ESPN Fantasy Marathon with all the experts draft, they had him going round 4. So I think he's going sooner than what those ADP numbers are, but still, I think he's going to be our RB1 for the season and could be a top 10 running back in all of fantasy football due to the number of touches I think he gets. Only reason he went number 2 on my list than 1 is because I think number 1 is a player that's going to bring you a lot of value and get a lot of touches and catches, especially a PPR league. And Greg Roman just said that, we're not going to have that one bell cow this year. So no matter if he is our RB1 as a Charger, he's not going to get 25, 30 carries a game ever. So my number 1, Lad McConkey, Lambo Lad, Ladidi, whatever you want to call him.
Ladidi.
I like to call him wide receiver 1.
Yes, sir. He's not a
Right
slot
now,
receiver. He's not a slot receiver.
not just a slot receiver. ADP of 25 overall in round 3, wide receiver 11. I think he cracks the top 10 scoring wise
Yep.
in fantasy this year. Obviously, his rapport with Justin, we saw it go heavy in the last couple months of the season, last few games, and obviously had a huge playoff game. So I think he picks up right where he left off. Big numbers coming in. You get him in a PPR league, you get 8, 9 catches for close to 100 yards a game. I think you're sitting pretty if he's your wide receiver 1 on your fantasy team. So yeah, that's my top 5 charges to have in fantasy football.
No, I love it. I love it. And big shout out to number 5 at Herbert too, because like you said, I mean, yeah, he's fifth on the list, and obviously you weren't going to leave him off. But honestly, I mean, his numbers from a standpoint of fantasy production, yes, sir. From a fantasy production standpoint, weren't obviously they weren't good last year, because the touchdowns were down, the yardage was down. But this year, with the group of pass catchers that he has, and hopefully health,
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot more rushing production from him.
Yep.
So that's another thing that, like you said, especially if you're grabbing him, what, around 13, or he's your, you just putting him on, you stashing him just to see, okay, well, I already drafted maybe I don't know, a Dak Prescott, maybe he's coming back and he got 2 prolific pass catchers out there, or maybe I drafted a Joe Burrow or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, well, okay, maybe early late in the season, Herbert is tearing things up. Okay, can I package Burrow and maybe upgrade someone else, or maybe I'll ship Herbert off? So I love the Herbert pickup, and he's definitely someone that I'm targeting late as well. I mean, no bias. I mean, bias aside, I think that he definitely will definitely outperform that ADP with all the skill players around him. So it's a great shout
Yeah.
out on that.
Absolutely. And me being the big Herbert guy, and you see the shirts, I got multiple and then all the jerseys, right? But
Mhm.
I've never not had Herbert on my fantasy team, so I'm looking to make this 6 years running where he's my quarterback. If even if he's not the starter last year, I had another good starter. So we need a bye week option, all that stuff you mentioned.
Absolutely.
10 will be on my fantasy team, God willing.
Yes, sir.
So let's finish off here this week on this week's episode with, we're going to look forward to this Saturday, preseason week 2. We are at the Rams, but that means we're still at SoFi Stadium, so we're not traveling. We're staying home. We actually had to cancel our joint practices this week due to some health and depth concerns, which is okay because we announced today that our starters will be playing in this game. Huge announcement by Jim Harbaugh at his press conference today before practice. I love to hear that. I've been under the impression that you need to take some snaps before the regular season. You can't have that. His words were, the players didn't want their first snaps of the year to be the first snaps of the year, and I couldn't agree more with that. You got to get your feet wet, even if it's just a series or two. If you look at last week in week 1, I'm okay that they did it in week 1, but I'm glad to hear this week 2. But if you look last week, Burrow was out there with Jamar Chase.
Hmm.
Kyler Murray's out there, just to name another guy. Plenty of starting QBs and starters in this league were playing last week. Pat Mahomes was playing last week, and Pat's played every year, and he's a champion playing deep into the season the
Yep.
last 6, 7 years. So I don't think there's any reasons for us not to. This will be Justin's first ever preseason snap, so I'm super excited about that. Justin, what are you looking forward to seeing in this game?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to kind of hear that too, like knowing that this would be like his first preseason game, knowing that when he came in as a rookie, he wasn't even the projected starter.
Yeah.
Like it took a punctured lung to Tyrod Taylor
Yep.
in a pregame for him to obviously, be propelled into the starting lineup, and
Yeah.
obviously never even a thought to give it back after that.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
that was
it's
week
crazy.
2, and we
Yeah.
didn't have any preseason because of COVID that year. That was the COVID year.
Like, come on. Rookie, so he played what? I think he played 15 games that year. No, yeah,
15.
15 games that year. Rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. Like, with no preseason, didn't play week one. Like it's kind of crazy when you look at those type of things. But no, I'm excited to see the starters play. I'm excited definitely for Herbert to get out there and to see him get out there with his full array of pass catchers. I'm really excited. Let me not say excited. I'm really interested to see how this offensive line looks,
Mm,
because, and we talked about it. I think that Rams D line is really good. They're
yep,
young, but they're really good. I mean, Puna Ford, he's got some age, and obviously, Puna he did his thing with us last year.
yep,
So I'm hoping that he doesn't do his thing, against us this preseason game. Chill out a little bit.
right.
But man, you got Jared Verse over there. You got
Beast.
Braden. You got the two players who were fighting for the defensive rookie of the year last year. You got Jared Verse who won it, and you got Braden Fisk who was right there with him.
Yep.
And then you have Byron Young on the other edge, and then Poona Ford in the middle with Braden Fisk. So like that D line is really good.
Mhm.
So I'm interested to see how our O line holds up against it. I mean, I'm interested to see what Trey Pipkins looks like at right tackle. I mean, we've seen it, but it's another year. It's year two of Harbaugh and Ortiz and Roman. So it could be different. I'm not going to just hold somebody to what they've done in the past. Yeah, I'm going to have some angst. I'm gonna have some feelings of we've seen Trey before. We've seen, this person not look good before. We've seen Zion kind of, but it's year two. And we know what our coaching staff and not even just coaching staff, strength and conditioning, Ben Herbert, it's all those different pieces that like give me the optimism of knowing like, hey, yeah, they didn't look so great, but this is year two being immersed in this type of culture. I think the sky's the limit. So I'm interested really to see that. Defense, I think defense is going to be firing to all cylinders, but really, really interested in that offense, the offensive line, and just seeing 10 out there, man.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to see Justin get those snaps. You mentioned last year health at the beginning of the year wasn't there, so maybe he would have played last year, but he was hurt all preseason and all training camp with that ankle injury, so it started off slow for him.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him to get those snaps and get those reps and some preseason snaps in, so that when we play a huge game week one against the Chiefs, that's not his first time playing this year. So I'm super excited about that. Happy to see that out there. It's just going to be a series or two, but. I'm super excited to see 10 throw the football on my TV this weekend. Only other thing I'm looking for is health. Come out of the game healthy. I said we didn't have those joint practices due to health. I don't want to see anybody else go down. So that's my biggest thing that I'm looking for this weekend is to lead the game healthy. Would love to see us play well, but I just want us to be healthy. I'm gonna go with that. Message for the Chargers this week is go out there, play hard, but let's leave the game healthy so that we're going into week three and heading into the regular season as close to full strength now as possible.
Right there with you, man. Health is number one, man. Aside of all the excitement, health is number one, man. But yeah, I mean, that wraps us up for today. If you tuned in with us today, man, we just appreciate you guys so much, sticking with us. Obviously, this is our third drop. And we're gonna be here all season long, all season long.
Yep.
Multiple videos. We're gonna have a lot of content. And as things are going on, we're gonna start introducing and incorporating a couple of different little things. So obviously, we talked about a little bit of fantasy today. So fantasy will definitely be one of our emphasis and just some different things where we're giving you guys some nuggets throughout the year.
Yep.
But then we'll also get a little bit of that betting in there too. Talking about whether it's money line or prop bets, futures. We're going to do a little bit of futures next week. So there's all those little things that we're just going to bring and over time kind of show you what you're going to be getting from us throughout the year. So like I said, if you made it this far, man, we appreciate you being here with us. Just like you see below us here, leave us a like, drop a comment in the box, throw some bolts up there, let us know if we're doing a good job. If you got any suggestions for us too, hey, drop those in there too. I mean, we're new to the game, but we love Charger football, and we're just trying to bring the best content possible. So like, comment, subscribe if you're still here with us, give us a share. And until next time, bolt up.